Yo family, what is good? Thank you for clicking on this video. I pray that you are having a blessed day. But we're going to be doing a 360 wave cut with a taper. And to start off a 360 wave cut, you always want to comb through the hair. Reason being is because what combing through the hair does is lift the hair off of the scalp, and when you go ahead and cut it, it allows for a much more even cut. So now wavers usually do a 1.5, right? But this waver in particular likes a number 2 guard. So I'm being very conscious of the wave pattern he set in, and I'm going with the grain with the number 2, and I'm taking my time, right? I'm not trying to rush through this part, because if you were to ruin their waves and patch them in any way, shape, or form, you might as well throw the cutaway, right? So I'm taking my time, I'm going with the number 2 and following the wave pattern he has set in. Family, listen, I be reading the comments, alright? And they are funny, okay? Especially the ones saying that when I talk, it sounds like I'm crying, alright? I've gotten that almost my whole life. But I promise your boy is completely stable. I'm not crying while I do these voiceovers. It's just kind of my voice, alright? But I'm not crying, alright? But again, I'm just taking on the hair still with the number 2. I'm really taking my time with this. This is probably the most important part of a wave cut. This is kind of what wavers take their pride in, is their waves, you feel me? So take your time. They really, notice when you take your time with their hair. You know what I mean? And he doesn't have the best waves, you know what I mean? But he got the butters. So that's what we're working with at the moment. Alright, and right here, I'm just going to point out his crown, right? I should have did this at the beginning, but I'm just showing you, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to go against the grain, so I'm showing you which way his hair is growing from his crown, right? And I'm just following that pattern, making sure I don't go against the grain, especially in that area. And you'll see me comb as I cut the waves as well, and that's just to lift the hair off the scalp some more. And now I'm going to use my blow dryer and my brush at the same time to go ahead and lay those waves back down as best as possible. Now let's get into the taper. So with the taper, we're going to start with our bald line, and I'm starting right where the end of his eyebrow is, and I'm going right to where the ear connects to the head on the top, and I'm just going to go ahead and bald that out. And I kind of gave it a sun shape because I kind of wanted to burst and leave that arch area pretty dark, you know what I mean? And then I'm going to follow it up with the shaver just to get it a little bit closer to the skin. And right above that, I'm going to go with my clipper all the way open. And I'm going to go up about a ½ inch here, really using the corner of my blade so I prevent myself from going up too high, you know what I mean? And I'm just keeping that same exact shape that we made with our bald line. And I'm brushing as I'm doing so. And now we're going to start with going with the number 2 guard all the way open. And this is going to be the biggest guard that we use. And with this, we're trying to blend into the waves as best as possible. Right, and what this is going to do is just clear some space so we can really make this blend gradual and blended, you know what I mean? And now right under that 2 guard all the way open, we're going to go with our 1.5 open, and then we'll go ahead and close that gradually as needed. And you'll see me flip that 1.5 over and go with the grain, and that's just to smooth that area out and get it blended as blended as possible. And I'm brushing as I'm doing so, just so I can make sure that the hair is laying in its natural position. And now to get rid of that last line that I just pointed out, I'm going to go in with my clipper closed. And as we move up into the taper, I'm going to go ahead and open that lever gradually. So I'm going in closed right here, really using the corner of my blade, and then I'm going to head and open the lever just slightly. And as we move up with that lever, you're going to see that taper really start to come together. And it's pretty simple, especially with a low to medium taper, you know what I mean? It's not really that complicated. It's probably one of the most easiest cuts to learn. And I'm just going ahead and detailing here some more. And right here, you're really going to see me, lay that clipper against his head, using the corner of the blade to get into those longer areas to get rid of those dark spots. So, and now we're gonna go ahead and do the taper on the other side, and we're gonna do the same exact steps. And on this side, I'm not really gonna tell you guys what to do. I'm gonna make sure that, you know what I mean, you get to visualize what's happening and kind of put the pieces together yourself, because when you're really cutting in the shop, you know what I mean, someone's not there to tell you like, yo, you gotta do this, then you gotta do this, then you gotta do that. So I'm gonna let you guys pay attention and just kind of figure it out. Alright, so on this side of the taper, you're gonna see I use the 1 and the half guard, and that's because on this side it was a little bit harder to get that taper blended, right? And this is what we mean when we say that you know what I mean, you have to have trial and error when learning how to cut hair, or in general, because almost everyone's head is different on the left and the right side. The hair grows different, it cuts different, and you have to learn how to solve those problems mid-cut, right? So on the other side, that line blended out a lot easier than on this side. So I had to use my 1 and then go to my half guard to get that taper looking blended. So that's what I did right here. And now I'm going to show you how to blend it into the beard here in a second. So I'm going to go in open, and then I'm going to close the lever and open it gradually, just like we did on that taper, you know, up there. We're going to do the same exact steps, just in reverse, going downwards. So, and then I grab my 1 guard open, and then I'll close it gradually as needed. And he wanted to keep this blend pretty high, right above his ear. So that's why I'm being conscious of not digging into the beard too much. And it's pretty simple. And now we're gonna get into the neck taper, and I want to apologize in advance if the neck taper portion isn't as focused. I tried to manually focus it because the camera kept going in and out of focus, so it might not be as crystal clear as, you know, the beginning. But without further ado, we're gonna get into the neck taper. So we're gonna do the same exact steps as we did on the side, right? So we're gonna go with our trimmer, creating our bald line. And I'm letting the trimmer do the work because the neck is a sensitive area, so I don't want to press too hard to where I create irritation. And now we're gonna follow. We're not gonna use the shaver either on the neck because with this hair texture, it's very curly, and I don't want any room for, you know, ingrown hairs and bumps on his neck, to where someone can claim you're a dirty barber. So we're not gonna do the shaver on his neck. We're gonna go with our clipper all the way open, going up about a full inch, because in the back of the head, or the back of the nape area, we have a lot more room to blend, and we want to make the blend as gradual as possible. So now I'm following that clipper open with the 1 guard open, and I'm going up about a full inch, brushing as I do so, because you want it to lay in its natural position that it would lay, you know, on an everyday basis, because a waver is constantly brushing the hair, so you want to make sure that you're cutting the same as well. And now we're going to go back to our 2 guard all the way open, and this is going to be the biggest guard. So we're trying to blend into the waves as best as possible here, really flicking out as we move up into those waves. And now right under that 2 guard open, we're going to grab our 1.5 open, and then we'll close it gradually as needed. And then you're going to see me flip that 1.5 over and go with the grain to go ahead and smooth that blend out and have a nice clean transition. And now to get rid of that line that I just pointed out, we're going to use our half guard, and we're going to go in open and then close it gradually as needed. And the reason I always want to go in open is because you can always you know what I mean, take more hair off. But once the hair is off, you can't put it back on, right? So we start off longer and then we close it as needed, just so we can be safe and not take off too much hair, you feel me? So I'm really using the corner of the blade and constantly brushing, especially in this neck area, because it wants to bunch up every time I go against the grain. So I want to make sure that it's laying back down every time I go against it. And now to get, to get rid of that line that the half guard couldn't get, we're gonna go back with our 1.5 just to make it look a little bit more consistent and not as choppy. And now for that last faint line, we're gonna go with our clipper closed and we're gonna open it gradually as needed. And this is what's really gonna bring that taper all the way together before we get into the detailing. And you can see already that this taper is really starting to come together. So I'm just going in close, playing with the lever, trying to get it as blended as possible. And now to go ahead and line up the nape area, I always like to start at the top of the ear and then move towards the bottom. And this is gonna help me prevent myself from going up too high behind the ear to where it just looks really funny, right? So I start at the top of the ear and then I move towards the bottom, and that's how I'm gonna get that nice crisp line on his neck and around his ear. And this is where you're really gonna see the taper come together, is after you put the line on it, right? I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the neck some more. And on the other side, I forgot to record it, so this is just the second, you know what I mean? I brushed down the hair again and then relined it, so that's what this part is right here. But this is what's going to show you all the flaws in the taper that you need to go back and detail, as well. It's going to bring the whole taper together. And now to get into the front lineup, I'm going to go ahead and apply some barber saw to his hairline. And what the barber saw is going to do is dry out his skin and get rid of all the oils that would get in the way of the trimmer, giving him the sharpest line as possible. And now we're going to use the warm towel and we're going to leave some room for his nose so we don't suffocate him, right? We want to make sure that he can breathe. So I went ahead and grabbed the warm towel, and this is just going to soften up the follicles and make them a little bit looser. So we're just going to open up those follicles, soften them up a little bit, and then we're going to wipe away all the excess barber saw. And now we're going to go ahead and blow dry it with cool air. Just because if we used hot air, it would bring out those oils once again. And once we got that all dry, we'll go ahead and line up the hair. So we're going to start in the middle and we'll move to either the left or right side, whichever side you feel more comfortable going to first. And in this case, we're going to go to his left side or right side. So we start in the middle and then we move to his right, and we're trying to get it as straight as possible while keeping it as natural as possible, right? And you can see what that hairline preparation did with the warm towel and the barber saw is it allows for a nice clean cut that the trimmers just cut through the hair and get it really crisp. And then we're going to line up the vertical bar, combing and brushing as we do so to make sure that there's not too many loose hairs hanging over his hairline. And to line up the arch, I always like to start at the top of the arch and then go to the bottom and meet it in the middle. And that's how I'm going to get that nice round shape. So right here, I'm starting at the top and then I'm going to go to the bottom and connect those two points that we created in the middle. And that's how you get that nice round shape without digging into the hair too much to where it looks crazy when it grows back, right? And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to move towards his right side, our left side. And we're trying to keep it as natural as possible, while at the same time getting it as sharp and as crispy as possible. So I'm really taking my time with the hairline. I know it can be awkward when you're lining up a client from the front because you feel like you're all up in the grill and they can stare at you. But just be patient, be confident in your ability, and line that baby up. So, and you can see as we put the line on the taper on the side as well, it really starts to bring it together. And this is going to be a natural cut, family. We're not going to use any enhancements since I really do use them in almost every video. So we're going to keep this one natural with just straight clipper and razor work. So alright, and now to get into the razor, we always want to make sure that we're stretching the skin And all those hairs that the trimmer couldn't get, we're gonna go ahead and get rid of with the razor, and this is what's gonna get it to that next level, that really crispy ash line look. And also what the hairline preparation did is dry out the skin, so when we go in with the razor, we get that nice white ash line that we all want. And you can see as we use the razor, it just takes this cut to a whole nother level. And now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And now with the beard, you always want to create tension as well, and we're going to start at the top of the beard and then work towards the bottom of his beard. And he wanted to keep this as high as possible, even though his beard is not completely full. He kind of wants to ghost the line out and act as if there was hair there. So we're going to keep this line really high, and then we're going to brush away that first initial ash line, and then we're going to go ahead and reline it so we can ensure we give him the crispiest line possible. And now to go ahead and get rid of all those flyaway hairs, we're going to go ahead and coast the hair with the clipper closed. And we're just going to get rid of all those excess hairs that are sticking up to give it a nice finished polished look. But family, this is the cut. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this cut. Make sure you follow me at Dreclipperhands on IG. I need 400 more followers to hit 10K. So I'm super excited about that. But family, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all next time.